Welcome to Coffee with Crystal. I'm Crystal Joy, contemporary romance author of Completely Captivated, Completely Yours, Shackled Heart, and Shattered Heart. Grab a cup of coffee and join me as I discuss self-publishing and who you need on your team. I know that when I decided to self-publish, it was super daunting and overwhelming because you have a million different people that you could hire and should hire, or a million different things you need to do yourself, and you have no idea where to start. So today what I would like to do is just break down who you need on your team and make the idea of self-publishing a little less daunting for you. So the first person you would need on your team when you decide to self-publish is your critique partner. I know I've already talked about this in a past video, so if you're interested in knowing more about critique partners, please watch that video. But just to give you a general idea, a critique partner is someone that you will exchange work with on a frequent basis, and this is somebody who will help you brainstorm, who will read your book as many times as you need, depending on your relationship and the time that each of you has. But this is someone who will critique and revise your plot and your character development. So you really want to start with a critique partner for sure, because that's someone, even as you're writing your rough draft, that you can bounce ideas off of as you go. The second group of people you need on your team are beta readers. I usually have about 10 to 15 beta readers. These are people that once your rough draft is done, that you can hand it out to them and you can ask them for their free opinion. This is someone you're not paying these people. These are friends, family, maybe people who have enjoyed your other books, who you can reach out to and say, hey, I'd really like you to read my rough draft. Please tell me what you think about it. Are there some things that you think need to be changed? So they're a great group of people who can really help you see some inconsistencies and problems with your plot and characters before you write your final draft. The third person you need on your team is a content editor. This is somebody you will hire and somebody you will pay. Most books you need a content edit, especially for self-publishing. Even with a critique partner, even with beta readers, it's always great to have a paid professional looking over your plot. So what a content editor will do is they will look over your plot and your characters, and they will tell you if things need to be fixed. You may even have specific concerns and say, I'm really having a problem. Usually my biggest problem with my plot once I write a rough draft is my subplot. I've usually got the romance figured out, but trying to figure out what I actually want to happen with the subplot and how I want it to connect to my main plot and even my character development is usually where I need my content editor to focus on. So you can even bring some weaknesses up to your content editor. As far as paying a content editor, some content editors want to be paid per hour, and then some will do it per word, okay? And it's usually, pretty inexpensive per word. So really what it comes down to is how long your books are. Mine are generally about 60,000 words. So I think compared to a lot of other self-published authors, since my books are on the lower end of the word count, it actually doesn't cost me too much money, and I prefer to do it per word. I really don't like the idea of paying a content editor per hour, but that's just me. I don't like the idea of you have no idea like how long it could actually take somebody to read the book, and at least per word gives you a very standard set amount of money that you'll be paying. And usually you pay them part up front, and then when they're done, you'll pay the full amount. But where do you find an editor? One great way to start is read other self-published books. Find ones that you like, especially specifically the plot. And then, and you can find that usually in the first few pages of other self-published books or even in the back. And then contact those people, find out their names and contact them. They should have a website and you can contact them that way or email them. And see if they have time to content edit your book. Another option is to ask other writers, your critique partner or other writers. Like I'm part of a local writers group, so I will ask. I've asked when I started self-publishing, I reached out to several people in my group because some of them were self-published, some of them were traditionally published. I just wanted to know who edited their books. And so that was a really easy way to find my content editor. And thankfully, I really liked her. I've had the same content editor for all of my books. All right, so you have a critique partner, you have beta readers, you have an editor, all who you need to have established after writing your rough draft. So once it's in their hands, you can take a tiny bit of a break. You can take a break from reading, but now you need to hire the fourth person on your self-publishing team, and that is your cover artist. So many different options as far as cover artists, and so many different price points, ranging from $100 to $1,000, and everywhere in between. It really depends on what you're looking for. For instance, you could hire a local graphic designer. There are lots of graphic designers who do like bookmarks and business cards, who also do book covers. You can also do it yourself. I know my critique partner uses selfpubbookcovers.com, and they're pre-made book covers. I actually did this with my first 2 books, not this specific website. I didn't have a very good contact with my first cover artist, so I'm not even going to mention that person. But there are websites out there who have pre-made book covers, which is great. It kind of gives you an idea of if you find the perfect book cover, literally all you have to do is tell that cover artist the title of your book, your author name, and voila, your cover is done. And so that will be on that lower end of the spectrum, like that $100 mark. However, especially as I've continued to self-publish, and when I started publishing my Small Town Romance series, I knew I wanted a little more, I wanted more involvement. I knew what my couple looked like, and I knew kind of like what the background what I wanted to look like. And since I write small town romances, I wanted that small town feel to the covers. So I hired a new cover artist, and I found her through another friend of mine who was also self-publishing. I loved her covers. They were beautiful. She writes contemporary romance as well, so she was a great contact for me. But even just Googling cover artists, you can find some good people out there. Just make sure that you also ask for referrals. I wouldn't hire anybody, whether it's your editor or your cover artist, without asking for referrals from other people to see how their experiences were. And I definitely wouldn't pay anyone less than $100 for anything, because although that sounds like a great price, you're probably getting what you pay for. So make sure you're actually finding someone who's really good. Ask for a portfolio too, not just referrals. Like, look at some of the other covers they've done. Do you like those covers? That's also a good way to see if that person would be a good fit for you. Okay, so now that your rough draft is done, you need to move forward and finish your final draft. So once your cover's done, and it won't actually be done completely until your cover artist knows how many pages your book will be, and then when it's formatted. But you just need to hire the cover artist and at least get the logistics done at this point. So get those done. Then you need to hire a copy editor and a proofreader. Now that could be the same person, and they could also be the same editor who did your content editing. I use the same person for content editing and copy editing. I've always felt like the copy editing of my books were done pretty well, so I've never hired a proofreader, although I feel like I get so crazy at the end of writing a book that I am going to hire the same editor to do proofreading this time. So this is where it will get a little more expensive than content editing. And a copy editor and a proofreader is someone who will go through like every line of your book, look for grammar, punctuation, and make sure those are good to go. The proofreader then will just read through it again and see any little inconsistencies, like a he that should be a she, or a she that should be a he, or a period that was just moved over slightly, or quotation marks that weren't exactly in the right place. So even though I haven't had a proofreader before, I wish I had, like I said, more just the peace of mind at the end of writing a book. So I would hire a proofreader. And same thing as far as trying to find one. If you don't want to hire your content editor, just look at other self-published books. Google proofreaders out there. Editors are everywhere. You just need to find that right one that works for you. All right, so once you're at the very end, you need to hire your formatter. Not